I know words. I have the best words.
This is All the Best Words with Matt Murphy and Cameron Smith.
Have eaten some of it, but you got 50 pounds.
I mean, what is halibut? Is it a whitefish?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a big old flounder.
Okay.
I mean, like, flounder about 18 inches, 22 inches, something like that.
Yeah.
Halibut can get hundreds of pounds, but they're one of those flat fish, too, that, one side's on the bottom, the eyeball comes over the top.
So you're inviting the Murphys over, and
You're welcome at any time, man. Now, whether or not that fish is going to be safe to eat is a different question.
I love those types of invites. I use those all. Come over anytime you want.
That's literally how our house works, Matt.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, but
it's not locked.
But if I took you up on that, and it's 1:00 and Murphy's half lit, gets an Uber over to the Smith household, what happens then?
Wouldn't be the weirdest thing that happened in my house.
Well, that's probably true. Hey, welcome in, and glad to have you for another episode of All the Best Words. It's Cameron Smith and Matt Murphy's podcast. My name is Matt Murphy, and I say all the best words.
My name's Cameron Smith. Write all the best words.
So, a lot going on.
Yep.
Let's dig in.
Yep.
Hit it.
Moscow.
This
is not a code word. My word, Moscow, is in direct relation to a question the President of the United States posed the Ukrainian leadership of, does Ukraine have anything that could hit Moscow? This to me was, and we've talked about Trump and diplomacy in Ukraine and Russia. This to me was brilliant for a couple reasons. One, Trump had given Putin every opportunity to play ball, go to the old boundaries, maybe block Ukraine from NATO ascension, and Putin had basically made him look like a fool every time. So then he does it about face and says, not only are we going to arm Ukraine and support this, but I'm going to publicly ask a question where I already know that we have the capacity to hit Moscow. We definitely, the United States has weapons that we could give Ukraine that could absolutely hit Moscow. And he's asking very publicly, hey, Ukraine, y'all got anything that could hit Moscow? And the absolute audience of that question is Vladimir Putin. And he's saying, you know what? You mess around with the bull, you get the horns. And I know that we all know, if Ukraine had the capacity to hit Moscow, they'd hit it today. And so what he's doing is saying, you better come to the table fast, because if you don't, I'm going to give them the capacity to do the thing that would really be rough for you.
During the Biden administration, I warned and was concerned about mission creep. And, this demonstrates that it's really who you're dealing with, whether or not those concerns bubble to the surface. Because I don't have nearly the concerns with Donald Trump, but I can see why some people might.
Sure.
Because, Donald Trump, I think, has come at this very honestly. He genuinely thought that he could sit down with Putin and convince him.
Yes, agree.
That it is in your best interest to go ahead and get what you can. I'll make sure that you get a little something that can save you face, whether it's Crimea or whatever, and then we move on from it. And now that Putin has consistently kind of been a little mealy mouth on the subject and won't stop bombing Ukraine, Trump's gotten kind of tired of it. So where does this take us? Well, he says 50 days in sanctions, right? And I don't know necessarily what sanctions are left. I'm always amused, especially these bad actors that continue their bad acts over a period of years or even decades. Like, we're going to sanction you. We're going to sanction you more.
We keep saying sanctions. You talk about a word, that's just a word.
Yeah, right. So, but when he starts floating Ukraine some of the military stuff that they need to further engage and to better engage, that's something that has to get Vladimir Putin's attention, I would think.
Yes. And I think what's interesting here is I think Trump may have actually miscalculated again. And I don't think in an intentional miscalculation. I think he's looking at Putin as a rational actor here and saying, I'm telegraphing to you that I may give them some capacity to hit you where it hurts.
Right.
And I just don't think Vladimir Putin's the kind of guy who cares. He is an aging authoritarian who's just sort of like, I want to get the old Soviet bloc back together, and if it doesn't happen, then I've failed.
I'm going to be dead soon.
Right. So that's my legacy. And when you have somebody like that, the threats and empty promises, and the real brilliance here, I'm not one of these people that says, well, Trump plays 5D chess, all that. However, with Iran and his willingness to take out that nuclear facility and use American military bombers to do so, he knew that Iran isn't a threat. Iran's not going to directly, maybe over time, but directly not going to do anything to the United States. He demonstrated the willingness to use military force to accomplish American foreign policy objectives.
Strike and go.
Right. And now he's got Putin on notice. Hey, I'm just saying, and that becomes more powerful.
Might not be the United States doing it, but you know what? We can certainly give Ukraine the ability to.
Yes, and we can do that instantly. And even, for example, just one of our missiles that has that range capacity, maybe they shoot it down, maybe they don't. Trump gives that to Ukraine. They're going to use it. They're going to take the shot. And then Putin's got to explain to Russians in Moscow why the war just came to their front doorstep. Hopefully that brings him to the table. Hopefully we get this resolved. I just don't think that Putin's a rational actor here.
Well, it's a big deal. It's a big campaign promise. Donald Trump is very big on checking those boxes, which I think benefits the United States of America because a lot of those boxes, it's what we want, whether it's immigration or revamping our economic policy or our energy policy. And
Our transparency in government with the Epstein files.
Well, we're gonna discuss that one in a minute, but yeah. So I do think it's a very big thing for him to check that box and watch that war come to a conclusion, which does lead us to my word, and my word is trust. I've always believed that trust is a very well, I won't say very because something can't be very unique, but it's a unique emotion, I think. That love, just to go through some of the emotions, right? Most emotions come upon you quickly and then fade. So love, even love, if you fall in love with someone, that typically happens fairly rapidly. And then if that person down the road betrays you, the love fades slowly. You feel betrayed, you feel angry, you feel a lot of other emotions, but the love slowly fades away. Whether it's love or anger or whatever it might be. Trust is interesting because trust takes time to build, but trust can shut off instantaneously. Based on how people act. And I find the word trust coming up more and more when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, the Epstein files, and people that are now in charge with institutions within the federal government that a large portion of the American people have zero trust in. And a lot of our mistrust, and this is the interesting dynamic, not me necessarily, because I would hope to believe that I'm kind of a quote unquote thought leader or whatever. But a lot of the American people have the mistrust in the FBI and the Department of Justice and the CIA and the NSA that they do because of the very people who are now in charge looking at us and saying, you're just going to have to trust us. The Dan Bonginos of the world and the Kash Patels of the world who told us repeatedly, when the government tells you to trust them, don't trust them. And now they are the government and they're telling us to trust them when it comes to the Epstein files. So forget what is there and what isn't there. Forget, how much we need to know and how much needs to be redacted and why Trump's acting in the manner that he is or why Pam Bondi's acting in the manner that she is. The matter boils down to this, that we expected that we would see a level of transparency within our government apparatus that would start slowly building back that trust that has gone away for a large portion of the American people.
Absolutely.
And they're just not doing it. And it just begs the question, why? And I cannot for the life of me, if they are telling us the truth, figure out why they don't redact the victims' names and throw it out there. They claim there's no third parties implicated. They've claimed that there's no real there in terms of the meat. And I don't necessarily disbelieve that, Cameron. But why wouldn't you just throw it on the table and hopefully build back some of that trust?
Yeah, I think that's well stated. The problem that I have with all this is I'm old enough to remember when they had these notebooks that they did a media circus where they put on these notebooks Epstein Files Part 1, and it was literally designed for the cameras to get a look at it and like, hey guys, pose for the camera with your cool notebooks.
They gave them commemorative hats.
right.
They gave them commemorative hats.
Right. And now the president of the United States, after that, is saying Democratic hoax. And I am just confused because what are you talking about?
Right.
That is stupid. And I think that this is it's weird because I don't really care about a lot of the Epstein whatever. I care about the issue of transparency in government.
Mm-hmm.
I care about the powerful being held to the same standard as the rest of us.
Justice.
That's what I care about, right? And if you're cavorting with minors and just because you're powerful, we look the other way, we got a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to make real sure that we've taken a close look. But all these people that are taking the close look are the same ones that said there is a there.
Well, and even in the worst case scenarios that I can potentially buy into, I hear that, Epstein might have been utilized because of everything that he knew by intelligence agencies like the CIA or the Mossad while they had him under the gun before they. Well, then tell us that.
Sure.
I mean, why wouldn't you just tell us that? And it frustrates me, those that are talking about, and I understand it, it's 5D chess and all that. And there's some people that don't want to believe that our president has the ability to misplay his hand here. And I think he most decidedly has misplayed it, at least the hoax stuff. Just to be up front, and none of this, in my opinion, would be going on, Cameron, if they had sent the same messaging through a press conference. They stand up, Pam Bondi's there, Dan Bongino's there, Kash Patel's there, and they say, okay, here's what we're going to tell you things, and many of you are not going to like what we have to say, but these are the facts, this is the truth, and we're going to stand here and answer or not answer questions for as long as you ask them. We will stand here for 3 hours, and mostly we're going to tell you that we can't answer your questions, but we're going to give you the opportunity to ask them. Let's go. And they didn't do that. They sent out a memo. Pam Bondi, who made her career on Fox News with Sean Hannity. Pam Bondi became Attorney General of Florida because she was friends with Sean Hannity and he gave her access to Fox News. And y'all go back and look at the record.
Sure.
I mean, that is what happened. Pam Bondi, who for the last 5 years prior to being nominated to the Attorney General post, was all over media. Where is she now? Trust.
Yeah, that's a great word, and I think that's all the time we've got left, man.
I think so, too. We get you in, we get you out. Thank you for watching. Give us the thumbs up. Tell a friend or a neighbor about us, and maybe we can convince Cameron to take the sunglasses off.
Maybe.
It's been all the best words.